Hi, and welcome to FaerieQuest. Today we are going to look at a couple of photographs of real Bigfoot, only closer to fairy size. So here is the first one. I took this photograph from the car as we were going about 60 miles an hour. And as you can see, the photograph is quite blurred because of the movement, and I usually would discard them. However, I saw this little guy up here when I got home and started going through my photographs. I did not see him as I was taking the photo. So I'm going to crop and enlarge this. What we're seeing here, we've got one eye, two eyes, the nose, and you can actually see the nostrils in the nose. A mouth is here, and chubby-like cheeks. We also have an ear, and he is hairy. You know, there's no doubt about it, he's hairy. Even, what we can see of the body is quite hairy. And if we would go back to the original photograph, it looks like there's a little cave behind him that he is actually coming out of. And you can kind of see a little bit more of the body when it's further away. The second photograph was taken at what I call the Mystic Trail. However, the actual name of it is Heart of Iowa Trail. We see this little guy right here. Now this is more along the lines of the size that I am accustomed to photographing. He's not as small as the leaves. He's not less the size of the leaves as many of the fairies I photograph are. However, he is not very big. Okay, so we can see he's pretty hairy too. Eyes. There's one eye. The other eye, because of the way his head is turned, it's kind of facing this way a bit. We can only see a portion of the other eye, but we can see his nose. We see the hair on the top of his head. And here's his hairy body and one hairy arm. And I think the most fascinating thing about this one to me was his toes. He is literally gripping this branch with his toes. And if you look closely, you can actually see toenail lines where his toenails are. So I thought that was pretty cool. For having this little guy be so small and blowing it up and being able to see that kind of detail in him. So he has 4 toes that we can actually see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And at least 3 of them have that definitive toenail line that we can see. Also, it looks like he has 3 fingers here, and there's something that he's holding on to that's a bit oval, and it's white. So he's got like the back of his hand facing us. But obviously his face and his toes have no hair, which makes him stand out a little bit more. So if we go backwards again to the non-crop, now, I'm sorry, but anything that has a face where I can see eyes and nose, and this way, his mouth is dark, but I can see it, and toes and fingers, I cannot look at it over here and say, oh, that's just part of the tree or that's a stump, because he really does, when you look at him in this way, he really does stand out. I'm calling them Bigfoot, even though they're more toddler and fairy size, so that you get the idea of what you're looking at. You might call them something else. You might know them as something else. If so, please leave a comment and let me know what you think perhaps they are. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, etc. See you in the next video.